We know what we want to include in our new journal, but we don't want to put the layouts in the wrong order. As freeing as the advice of there's no wrong way to do this can be, I still like to have my pages in an order that makes sense. So today we're going to have a look at the 4 things I consider when ordering my start of journal pages, and also have a look at the order that I typically use. There are plenty of ways that you can sequence the layouts in your start of journal setup, including just randomly picking them out of a hat, but even the idea of that makes me uncomfortable. Instead, when it comes to sequencing my bullet journal pages, I like to consider the theme or topic of the pages, or overarching categories that I can put them into, the width of use of the pages, so the width of time they cover or the width of information, the importance of the layouts, and what the layout of the pages actually are. Looking through these points, the first thing that I will consider is the theme or topic of the pages. I like to have pages that are about the same general thing together when ordering my pages. This means that when I'm looking to write things down about that topic, all of the layouts that I need are in the same place. The action step that you can take with regards to this consideration is taking your list of pages and grouping them by topic. So for instance, all of the ones related to goals, or all of the ones related to finances, all the ones related to health, etc. Once they're grouped by topic, my second consideration is the width of use of the pages. I kind of alluded to this before, but here I'm looking at how much time the layout spans and how much information the layout covers. For instance, the future log covers the lifetime of the notebook, and often beyond, so it has a higher width of use in terms of time. It also has a higher width of use in terms of information, because I can use it to schedule anything. Though mainly I use this for events and appointments. Something like a new journal planning page has a narrower width of use. The information held on this layout is only going to be used when it comes to setting up my next journal, though the lifespan of the layout is actually the lifetime of this journal, because I will add to the layout as I use this notebook in particular. Effectively though, the higher the width of use, the closer to the front of my notebook I want to have those pages, because if they're widely used, I want them to be more accessible. It's often more accessible to have those pages in the front of the journal. Our action step for this one is considering how widely you'll be using each layout, both in terms of time and information. It's helpful to think about things like, what span of time is the layout good for? How wide or specific is the information that I'll be recording in the layout? How often will I want to add information to this layout? And how often will you reference that layout? My third consideration is the importance of the pages. Typically, I like to have pages that are more important, at least to me at that point in time, towards the front of my notebook. Again, this is so that they're more accessible. So typically for me, the important layouts are those related to goals and future planning. So I like to have those up front for easy finding. The action step related to this consideration is to pick out the most important layouts or categories of layouts that you have in your list, and think about how you can position them in your sequence to make them as accessible as possible. While those previous considerations give me more of a general order of how I might want to sequence these pages, in this 4th step, that's where I start to consider exactly where I want to put them. And that's by considering what the layout of the pages will actually be. For instance, do I want a 1-page or multi-page future log? Or how many pages do I want for it? Do I need any half-page layouts, or is everything going to be a full page or full spread? I don't like to have wasted space in my start of journal setup, so I always make sure to consider how many pages or spreads each layout in my list is going to take up. This means that I can sequence my layouts so that 1, there are no pages unaccounted for, and 2, any of the layouts that I want to go across a full spread don't get split between 2 spreads. For instance, one on the right-hand page of the first spread, and then on the left-hand page of a second spread. If you do end up with, quote, wasted space, you can either save those pages for a layout that you might want to add later on, or normally I'd fill them with a quote or decoration related to my start of journal theme. As I order my pages though, I typically make little thumbnails of the layouts or draw them out in my new journal planning pages, so I effectively have a map of what order I'll be putting each layout in. Our action step here though is to go through your layout list and specify how many pages each of those layouts is going to take up. Then, once you've got all of that information, both from this step and the previous ones, you can order your pages in a way that makes sense. My typical page order changes, really depending on what's important to me at the time or what layouts I actually want to include, but in general, the first thing that I will usually start with is my future planning pages. This will be my future log or my year at a glance. or both, depending on how I'm feeling at the time, because I want those to be really accessible references. The next thing after this is going to be my goal-related layouts, because usually, goals are one of the most important things for me. This will include stuff like a level 10 life check-in if it's the start of a new year or a new quarter, any of my goal planning pages, and then any yearly or long-term goals come after this. So for instance, something like my 101 things tasks that I've selected for the month that this journal houses. Once I've got the general goal stuff out of the way, it's then time for layouts related to my most pressing goals, or the ones that at that time I deem the most important. For instance, if my most important goal is around savings and finances, those are the pages that I'll put next. If it's about health, then that one will go next. After this, I'll typically put in my long-term trackers and logs that aren't so related to goals. They still have a fairly wide width of use, in terms of time at least, because they're going to be populated throughout the whole duration of the notebook, but their width of use in terms of information is more limited. For example, my media list, which captures my media consumption and recommendations that are given to me, it's going to last the entire lifetime of the notebook, but it's only specifically recording things related to media. The last pages that I put in my start of journal setup will always be my new journal planning page. I don't need to have it super accessible because its width of use is smaller, but I'll still add to it every so often over the lifetime of this journal. After that planning page though is when I have my monthly theme planning pages. The width of use for these ones is much narrower because I'm only using it once a month to plan the next monthly setup. So I don't need it to be as accessible. Once you've got your page order, it's time to put pen to paper, but you might be a little bit apprehensive. We don't want to ruin our new journal. I believe in you, you can do this, but I do also have some tips about how to avoid making mistakes in your new journal, which we have in this video here. It's worth checking out, so click or tap on that one and I'll see you over there.